Welcome to the Z-Hut. Today I would like to show you how to use a DHT11 or DHT22 with your Arduino in an LCD screen. So what we'll do first is I'll go over the circuit here quick, and then we'll go over to the computer and I'll show you the sketch that I'm running for this. So let's just get right to it. Now I'm using a 16 character by 2 line I2C LCD screen, and I do recommend the I2C screens. Otherwise you gotta hook a wire from each of these pins to the Arduino and you run out of pins real quick. Where this uses the I2C, so you're using 2 pins on the Arduino, and we're using analog pin 4 and analog pin 5 for the Nano. On the Unos, the Megas, the other ones, the pin that you use is different, and that information is readily available online, so just check that out if you're not using a Nano. But I'm using a Nano, so it's on A4 and A5. So, and then of course I'm powering it from a wall wart. You can power it any way you want. But we got the DHT, and that's connected on pin 6, and I'll show you the pin out here. I printed this out. My printer is having some technical difficulties. It's leaving lines in there. I haven't figured that out yet because I just printed this out and it did that to me. So I'll be working on that later. What we have is our pin number 1 is our VCC. That's our voltage in. Pin number 2, that's the data pin. And I have that connected to pin 6. You can connect that to other pins, and when we get to the sketch, I'll show you if you connect it to a different pin. I'll show you how you set that in the Arduino sketch. Pin 3, we're not using. That's not used. And pin 4 is the ground. Real easy to hook this up. As you can see, there ain't a whole lot here. It's just the temp humidity sensor, the DHT11, and the Arduino board and LCD. And it is currently 13 degrees Celsius in here, and humidity is 21%. Now I have this updating the temp and humidity about every second. I didn't really see a need of having it update every like 1/10 of a second or half a second. You could even probably set this up with a delay of like every minute having it do an update, but that's all there is to it. Well, let's get over to the computer and we'll go through the Arduino sketch, because setting the circuit up is pretty easy. And you can find a schematic for this on the website if you need it. Otherwise, I think I described you how to hook it all up quick. It's really easy to do, but I will have a schematic on the website, and you can find a link to that in the description below. And also the Arduino code that I'm going to be showing here in just a moment, that will be available on the website too if you want to just download it and put it in. So I'll see you over at the computer in just a moment. Okay, I've got the Arduino IDE opened up and the sketch loaded up here. And like I said just a few moments ago, you can go to the website and find a link to that in the description below, and you can just copy this code and paste it right in your Arduino IDE, and feel free to modify it any way you want. So what we have here is, since we are using an I2C LCD screen, we got to include the wire.h, and this is for the I2C. Then we're also including the liquid crystal I2C library. Now, this library will also work. There is another LCD screen that's 20 character by 4 lines. That will also work with this. And I'll have a link for the libraries. Well, I actually have another video on how just to connect the screen and get started with. And I'll have a link to that on the website. So if you've never used the I2C LCD screen, you can find a link to that video, and it's just a quick short video. It shows you how to connect it up and get the libraries and stuff, and you can find the link to that on the website. Then what we're doing, all and that also tells you, because what we're doing right here is we're getting the address and all the pins stuff hooked up. And this right here is the I2C address of this screen. And on that video I was just talking about, that will show you how to find the address for your screen. Some of the people on eBay and other places that sell these will tell you what the address is when you get it, but if you don't know what the address is, that video I was just telling you about will show you how to scan and find this address. And then if you're using a different address for your screen, you have to change this. But most likely, if you're running the 16 by 2 character, this is the address most of them come with. So you probably can just leave that. But check that video out, and it will go through this in more detail and show you how to get it all set up. Now next we're including the library for the DHT11. And you can use the DHT22 as well, and if I remember correctly, you just change this right here from the 11. You just change that to 22. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that's how that works. And then we have, I told you, you could put this on any pin you want, any of your digital pins on the Arduino. And I'm using pin 6, so I have 6 in here. If you put it on a different pin, just change that number right here to what pin you are connecting the DHT11 or 22 to. Alright, next what we're doing is we're initializing the screen. And if you were using the 4-line screen, this would be 20 and this would be 4. Otherwise, if you're just using the 2-line 16 by 2-line screen like I am, just leave that alone. Then we're just clearing the screen in case there was anything on there. It just clears it. That's a good thing to do in your void setup. Just clear the screen when everything's getting started. Next, we're setting the cursor to 0, 0. That is line number 1, which is 0, and position 1, which is 0. Then we're printing temperature. Then we're moving up, and we're putting a C. That's for Celsius, because the DHT11s and 22s, they work in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. There is a little mathematical equation you could add into your project, the sketch, that would change it to Fahrenheit. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it in Celsius to make this simple. Then we're setting LCD cursor to print the humidity, and this is going to be at position 0 on line 1, which is actually the second line, because the first line is 0. Or, excuse me, the first line is 0 and the second line is 1. Gets a little confusing, but if you deal with Arduino quite a bit, they do stuff like this all the time. I don't know why. If I designed it, line 1 would be 1, not 0, but that's how they do it. And then we're just printing humidity, and then we're setting the cursor to print the percent, because the humidity is being displayed in the percentage. Now the actual values will be being printed out down in the void loop here, and we'll get to that in a moment. I just put this stuff in the setup because there's no point in reprinting it every time. It's going to be the same name all the way through, so put it in the setup. You can put it in the loop if you want, but the setup works good. Next, what we're doing is we're defining 2 bytes, and that's to store the temperature value and the humidity value. And next, we're just reading the DHT11 or 22. And what happens if it doesn't read it? It just returns and goes back to the beginning. And if you are connected to the serial monitor, and I didn't put serial.begin in here because we're not scanning that, but if you were connected to your serial monitor, if it didn't work, it would print out on the serial monitor that it failed. Then next, this is where we're printing the temperature and humidity. So we're setting the cursor to where we want. We're going to position 12, which is actually the 13th character on line 1, and 0, which is for line 1, and we're printing the temperature. Then the same thing with the humidity. And of course, I'm delaying 1,000, which is 1 second. You could delay this a minute. It's up to you. I don't really see a point of going less than every second. If you want to, you can change that, but reading the temperature every second, and we're just displaying it to an LCD screen, that's more than enough. Definitely more than enough. Well, that's all there is to the sketch. You can see it's pretty simple, and there's many applications for using this. If you were doing a weather station, if you were making an egg incubator or controlling temperature in a greenhouse, and I actually have some videos on that. Check out the website and the other videos on my channel here. I upload a video. I'm trying every day to get one up. Once in a great while, if it's a big project I'm working on, it might be 2 days before I put one up, but normally about every day, so consider subscribing. And if you found this information useful, please give me a thumbs up. I would appreciate it big time. So with that, I think we can wrap this tutorial up, and like I've said a couple times during the video, there's more information at the website, and you can find the link to that in the description below, so check it out. Consider subscribing, give me a thumbs up. So, thanks for joining us here at the DHT today. Have a great day, and have fun building.